This historical illustration shows a 16th century Dutch merchant vessel navigating the open ocean. The penalty for a wrong arithmetic answer at sea was death. Predicting a planet's position or plotting a safe course required spherical trigonometry. This demanded multiplying large sines and cosines together by hand. A single calculation could take hours of exhausting paper arithmetic, inevitably introducing deadly errors. A Scottish mathematician named John Napier watched this struggle and spent 20 solitary years looking for a way to bypass multiplication entirely. He wanted a method to replace it with simple, reliable addition. This kinematic diagram shows how Napier modeled his idea physically. Two moving particles travel along two separate lines. The top particle moves at a constant speed, while the bottom particle slows down in exact proportion to its remaining distance. Napier defined the distance covered by the first particle as the logarithm of the remaining distance of the second particle. By translating this physical motion into abstract mathematics, Napier exposed a perfect alignment between arithmetic sequences, where numbers add, and geometric sequences, where they multiply. The position index in the arithmetic sequence acts as the logarithm of the geometric term. Multiplying two geometric terms simply becomes adding their indices. This gives us the master logarithmic rule. The logarithm of a times b equals the logarithm of a plus the logarithm of b. This is the title page of Henry Briggs' 1624 publication, Arithmetica Logarithmica. Briggs traveled to meet Napier and proposed refining the system to base 10, creating clean boundary conditions. The logarithm of 1 equals 0, and the logarithm of 10 equals 1. Looking at these dense printed grids, we can see the practical result. Complex maritime astronomy was reduced to a few reliable table lookups and basic addition, removing the arithmetic burden and securing safe passage. A century later, Leonhard Euler sought to elevate the logarithm from a simple arithmetic tool into a function perfectly suited for the newly invented calculus. This equation defines Euler's constant e as a limit as n grows to infinity. Using this specific base, Euler defined the natural logarithm via an integral from 1 to x. Choosing e yields an incredibly clean calculus property. The derivative of the natural log of x is exactly 1 over x. To understand the limits of this function, we have to look at its strict inverse. To say the natural log of x equals y means exactly the same thing as e to the power of y equals x. Plotting the exponential function e to the power of x on a graph reveals a strict boundary. For any real input, the output is strictly greater than 0. As the input goes to negative infinity, the curve approaches the 0 axis but never crosses. The natural log graph acts in reverse. As x approaches 0 from the right, the function plummets down toward negative infinity. It has no definition at 0 and no definition for negative numbers. Because e to a real power is always positive, setting the equation equal to a negative number creates a strict mathematical barrier. Asking for the natural log of -1 breaks the real number line entirely. This barrier was the subject of a fierce scientific controversy in 1712 between two of the greatest mathematicians in Europe, Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz and Johann Bernoulli. Leibniz used partial fraction decomposition to study the logarithm of a negative ratio. He concluded that because his integrals involved the square root of -1, the logarithm of a negative number had to be an imaginary quantity. Johann Bernoulli rejected this completely. He claimed that the logarithm of negative x and the logarithm of positive x were identical, meaning the logarithm of -1 was simply 0. These side-by-side proofs show Johann Bernoulli's approach. He started with the accepted rule. The derivative of the natural log of x is 1 over x. Applying the chain rule, the derivative of the natural log of -x also becomes identically 1 over x. Bernoulli invoked a standard theorem. If two functions have the same derivative, they differ by at most a constant c. Assuming this constant was 0, Bernoulli declared the functions completely equal. This is a classic domain trap. Bernoulli's calculus theorem is only valid on a single unbroken domain. But the logarithm of positive x lives strictly on the right of 0, and the logarithm of -x strictly on the left. The regions are completely disjoint. Applying real-world calculus across the void of 0 creates a paradox. You cannot assume the integration constant is 0 without a mathematical bridge connecting the positive and negative numbers. The English mathematician Roger Coates quietly discovered the foundation for this bridge in 1712 while studying the arc lengths of spirals, but died before he could apply it to the logarithm crisis. Leonhard Euler independently built the complete bridge in 1727. Rather than using calculus rules on an unbroken real line, Euler turned to infinite power series. This sequence begins with the fundamental Taylor series expansion for the exponential function, e to the power of z. Euler took this series and substituted an imaginary input, z equals I times theta. By computing the cascading powers of I, the terms begin to alternate signs. I squared becomes -1, I cubed becomes -I, and so on. Euler physically grouped the output, separating the real terms into one bracket and factoring out the imaginary I into a second. He recognized the result immediately. The real terms form the Taylor series for cosine and the imaginary for sine. This framed equation is Euler's formula. It unites exponentials and trigonometry, providing the exact mathematical structure needed to step off the restricted real number line and into the complex plane. This step-by-step derivation shows what happens when we evaluate Euler's formula at the specific angle of pi radians. The sine of pi is 0, meaning the imaginary term vanishes. The cosine of pi is -1. The result is e to the power of I times pi equals -1. Taking the natural logarithm of both sides resolves the controversy. The logarithm of -1 is exactly I times pi. With this value established, Euler returned to Johann Bernoulli's flawed calculus argument to identify the missing integration constant. Using complex arithmetic, Euler showed the logarithm of -x equals the logarithm of positive x plus I times pi. He proved this imaginary constant was the specific value required to bridge the gap between the positive and negative number lines. To understand what I times pi actually means, we have to look at the physical geometry of the complex plane. Every complex number has two polar coordinates, its magnitude, which is its distance from the origin, and its argument, which is its angle from the positive real axis. This diagram shows how the complex logarithm processes polar coordinates. The real part outputs the magnitude, and the imaginary part outputs the angle. Plotting -1 on the unit circle shows a distance of 1, requiring a rotation of exactly pi radians. But an angle is not a single number. Adding a full rotation of 2 pi radians lands you on the exact same point. You can loop around the origin backward or forward infinitely, meaning -1 has infinitely many logarithms. The complex plane expands into an infinitely layered 3D Riemann surface. Looping the origin winds onto a new sheet, assigning a new valid logarithm. To force the complex logarithm to behave as a standard function with one output, mathematicians established the principal branch convention, artificially restricting the angle to a single half rotation. This compromise creates a branch cut along the negative real axis. It acts as an invisible boundary, where crossing the line causes the mathematical values to snap back abruptly. Infinite values are a consequence of navigating the complex plane, where every point is accessible through an endless series of full rotations. Euler's formula provides a straightforward rule for computing the logarithm of any negative real number. The natural log of -2 is the log of 2 plus I times pi. The log of -10 is the log of 10 plus I times pi. However, importing old arithmetic rules into this new space is dangerous. The standard power rule, where the log of a variable squared equals 2 times the log of the variable, breaks down if you ignore the multiple sheets of the complex plane. This proof shows Bernoulli's final trap. He argued that because -a squared equals positive a squared, 2 times the log of -a must equal 2 times the log of a. The error is applying the power rule without the complex adjustment term. Squaring the variable doubles its angle, jumping you to a different sheet on the Riemann surface. You must inject a multiple of 2 pi I to track the rotation. Adding this correction term restores total algebraic consistency. It protects the power rule from paradox by accounting for the hidden geometry. In 1614, logarithms were physical tools built to save sailors from drowning in arithmetic. For over a century, they existed only as practical instruments for positive numbers. that solving a purely practical problem forced mathematicians to follow the logic into the dark, demanding a bridge over zero. The attempt to find the logarithm of a negative number ultimately opened up an entirely new universe of numbers, cemented by the undeniable proof that the logarithm of -1 is I times pi.